interestingly, the political sands are shifting, but there are so many political figures as well who have talked about Iran, including Zach Polanski, the leader of the Green Party, and Jeremy Corbyn. Let's have a look at what they've been saying.
Dragging the UK into another illegal war does not make us any more safe. And polling shows over and over again that the majority of people in this country do not want our UK bases to be used by US military. And the only reason why this is happening is Keir Starmer is incapable of standing up to Donald Trump.
More horror and a great deal of money being made by arms manufacturers all around the world. Can't we in this country do something to try and bring about peace there by persuading the US to go back to the negotiating table with Iran as quickly as possible?
To be clear, the use of British bases is limited to the agreed defensive purposes. We are not joining the US and Israeli offensive strikes. The basis for our decision is the collective self-defence of long-standing friends and allies and protecting British lives. It is in accordance with international law.
Zach Polanski, leader of the Green Party, Jeremy Corbyn, who's something in your party, and Keir Starmer there. Jeremy Corbyn talking about a great deal of money made by arms manufacturers. No room in that interview for him to mention the tens of thousands of pounds he has received as a broadcaster from Press TV, the pro-Iranian broadcaster, which has been now banned in the UK. He's an apologist for the Iranian regime, and he is someone who I believe is a disgraceful human being who, in my strongly held personal belief, is an anti-Semite. Zach Polanski from the Green Party is reaping the whirlwind of all of this. You've got to look at the polls, okay? It's one poll and polls change and there are probably 3 years until an election. But by 49% to 28%, British people oppose US strikes on Iran. So Zach Polanski is factually correct in what he's saying. Look at the voting intention as well. Reform 23%, Green 21%, Labour and Conservatives on 16% each. We're seeing, for lots of reasons, not least what has happened in the last 4 days, not least what has happened in the last 2.5 years since those disgraceful Hamas terrorist attacks on the 7th of October. The sands are shifting in UK politics. I want to speak to Maxwell Marlow, Director of Research at the Adam Smith Institute, about this. Maxwell, we're in a situation, yes, it's a YouGov poll, they're generally pretty reliable. Yes, the election, there isn't an election tomorrow, it's 3 years away, but we're seeing Reform doing well at 23%, Greens at 21%. The first time their global head of politics says the highest we've had the Greens in a voting intention poll, the first time we've had them in second place, and the lowest they've had Labour. The sands are shifting.
They're totally shifting entirely, Peter. And, you know, what we're seeing as well is a really good book actually about this called The Great Realignment by a guy called Dr. Steve Davies, who's actually a fellow at the Institute of Economic Affairs. And it's not just in the UK. Let's remember this, Peter. It's across the West. We see De Linke doing really well in Germany. We see the far left and also the far right in France. We see Trump, who is obviously a much more right-wing character than the GOP usually would have in America. Everything is going awry, and there's really not one way one can put things. And I think in the UK especially, we have the issue of Keir Starmer not being a strong leader at all. Trump said as much. We've got, obviously, got Kemi Badenoch too, who, you know, tries to say a lot, isn't really heard. Farage, who's genuinely a Marmite figure, and then finally Zach Polanski, as we're calling him now, obviously great friend of Mohsen Ali, who somehow found his way at a pro-Iran protest, a pro-jihadist protest, and
let's just take a little second just to digest that. So we have the Green Party on 21%, about one in five people, more than that.
1 in 5 people.
Of this
under the age of 50. Under the age of 50.
In this country, want to vote for the Green Party, okay? Mm-hmm. So we have, well, this is voting intention overall, so I think it's people over 50 as well, want to vote for the Green Party. And their deputy leader is someone who was at a protest in favour of an Islamist regime in Iran, which has been murdering and maiming tens of thousands of people. This guy could be an MP after the next election. If there's another by-election, he might be an MP. We already have 4 pro-Gaza MPs in Parliament already. There are so many issues abroad that are having a big effect, and I would argue a very pernicious and worrying effect on exactly what is happening in our politics here in this country, Maxwell.
Well, Peter, I think you're understating it. He could be deputy prime minister if the Greens win, at the next election, which I think, let's not understate this. He's deputy leader of the Green Party, could not just be deputy prime minister. That's the really concerning thing about this at the end of the day. I mean, it's not just that, though, of course. I will say, with this poll, I've had a look at the numbers. It is just that so many people between the ages of 18 and 30 are in favour of the Green Party that it moves the numbers up as an average, right? But we can look at that and we can see why, right? Because this Labour government have been creating ginormous amounts of unemployment. They've been really pushing the cost of living up. And where else do young people have to turn? Now, look, I've known you, Peter, for a very long time now. 3 years, I've been on the show quite a lot. I'm of a right-centre opinion, but I'm quite weird in that aspect. I've studied economics, I've studied politics. I know where I stand. For a lot of people who don't have the same, taste, and people who don't really know the facts as much as your viewers at TalkTV, they move to the left immediately because it just sounds good. Rent controls, and what US is bad, etc., etc.
And what worries me as well is this kind of red-green alliance too. This idea that you have the previously largely harmless Greens who wanted to get us all to recycle and hug trees, and the eco-loons essentially, who I disagree with, but I don't think are fundamentally bad people who want to destroy our society, who are aligning with fundamentally bad people who do want to destroy our society, who do want to destroy our way of life. You have this very weird alliance, this red-green alliance that is happening. We've seen it in numerous places previously, but I'm talking about people who are on those pro-Palestinian marches, many of them, people who are not only in favour of Hamas and Hezbollah, for example, actual terrorism and advocating for terrorists, many of them not arrested, but the people who are perhaps members of the Green Party, other parties as well, who are going along with that and allowing them to survive and thrive.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no wonder that the Hamas grouping use their symbol is the watermelon, green on the outside, blood red on the inside. And we see that time and time again with all of these movements, Peter. I mean, there's no surprise that we see on university campuses, for example, UCL, a really
University College London, yeah.
Absolutely. Using, having their student groups go out and say, oh, yes, well, we'll have a memorial in favour of that vile, terrible, rapist dictator, Ayatollah Khomeini, who very thankfully was vaporised recently.
There's one happening tomorrow in Manchester as well, which we talked about on the programme yesterday. Absolutely horrendous.
Exactly.
It is fascinating to see where things are, but it's a very worrying time as well. Thank you for guiding us through it. Maxwell Marlow there, Director of Research at the Adam Smith Institute.